Bill Belichick, who is taking full advantage of his umpteen media appearances. He's crafted a bully pulpit in which he can settle scores and advance agendas, and he's doing both. And it's become more and more obvious as the season's unfolded. And that's fine. He can do whatever he wants. It's one of the benefits of having a bully pulpit. But we have one of our own, and we can say, hey, Bill, it kind of looks like you're using your media bully pulpit to settle scores and advance your agenda, criticizing teams that might be teams you coach next year, like the Jacksonville Jaguars or the New York Giants, criticizing the Jets and the Patriots because you're pissed off at the Patriots and you've been perpetually pissed off at Woody Johnson for 25 years. So I don't know whether he is aware or whether he cares. There's a chance he's fully aware and just doesn't care. But it has become noticeable, and I'm not the only one who's seen it. It's become noticeable that Belichick seems to be, using that platform for his own personal interest and agenda.
No question. It's not just his own personal interest and agenda, Mike. It's everybody in his orbit. Now, this is rich here. He has not only criticized the teams that you've mentioned, but somehow taking credit for the Ravens, not the Browns, the Ravens drafting Ray Lewis because he made the trade a couple years earlier that the Ravens used on Ray Lewis. Now, Ray Lewis was drafted in the 20s. It wasn't like he got them a top 5 pick and it was a no-brainer. Everybody knew it was going to be Ray Lewis. They drafted Ray Lewis, a linebacker out of Miami, way down there. So he takes credit for that. He's giving Matt Patricia credit for and allowing Patricia to say, oh, yeah, Ben Johnson is my guy. I brought Ben Johnson there. And Matt Patricia started the Renaissance in Detroit. No, it's just the opposite. They had to purge themselves from the Matt Patricia era in Detroit, but Bill Belichick is trying to tell that story again. And then yesterday with the Patriots trade pass rusher Joshua Uche, and Belichick says the Patriots didn't get enough for Uche, who signed in the offseason for 1 year and $3 million. I mean, it's not like the league was coming to the Patriots saying, hey, what do you want for Uche? And I think what he's really trying to say in the Uche example is that, yeah, generally a guy who was drafted in the second round by Belichick should not be traded for a 6th-round pick. But in that Uche draft, he didn't get anything outside of Kyle Duggar. Kyle Duggar was the first pick, but they drafted a bunch of guys who really aren't in the league anymore, and that goes back to Belichick. I think he's kind of trying to shift the conversation back to who Uche was as opposed to the guy who overdrafted him in the first place.
What's the mood in Boston about Belichick generally? Because, on one hand, the team, but for what happened on Sunday, had been in a free fall, and it just felt like at times Gerard Mayo's a little overmatched for the parts of the job that are public-facing, calling your team soft, maybe saying some things that, we understand why coaches never say anything because anything you say can and will be used against you by anyone who hears it when you're a football coach. But, you've got that. The Patriots aren't doing well, so there could be some nostalgia, but also Belichick popping off all over the place. What's just been the sense you've gotten, how people view Belichick in his first year post-Patriots?
Well, I'd say before Sunday, pretty favorably, because you've got Belichick and it's Boston. So Boston is all about history. And so you're thinking about the 6 Super Bowls more than you're thinking about 10 games under 500 the last 4 years. You're not thinking about the guy who let Tom Brady walk out the door. You're thinking about, remember that great game plan against 2 great game plans against the Rams, first Super Bowl and the last Super Bowl and all that. So I think the memory of Belichick plus the first-year struggles of Gerard Mayo, pretty favorable. A win goes a long way, though, because I think the Patriots hadn't won a home game in a year, a calendar year. The last home game before Sunday, they won was October 22nd, 2023. And so Belichick was he was a part of that too. And so I think in his absence and his media appearances, as you pointed out, he's been able to tell a different story, and that story has been received well because the Patriots were on a 6-game losing streak. But I think people are wise to it now. It's a little, it is petty, and we can see it. We can see where it's coming from. The Patriot stuff is coming directly from, of all places, the Breakfast Club. You know, Robert Kraft goes on with Charlemagne the God and says, yeah, I really fired Bill, but I wanted to make it look elegant. So I didn't call it a firing, but it was time to move on. And then Belichick heard that and said, okay, all right, well, gloves are off. You fired me, and it was all a charade? Well, let's see what I do with your rookie head coach. Let's see how I just take aim at your organization. I think he's done that, and you feel it the last couple of weeks. He really has ramped it up a bit.
And my only struggle with all of the Belichick stuff, like substantively, it's not nuts. It's not beyond the mainstream. How he reacted to Gerard Mayo is how others reacted, but because it's Belichick, it's going to carry more weight. He's E.F. Hutton. That's a very dated reference that Michael is old enough to get, but everybody listens to what Belichick says, and I feel like he's calculating, he's strategic, and he takes a certain amount of glee, if he's even capable of feeling gleeful. But he gets that thing where you can just see he's kind of satisfied with himself, but he won't let it go any farther than that. You know, does he take that glee in firing a zinger from the space that he used to hate? It really will be curious to see how he acts if he does get hired as a head coach next year, and I'm not 100% sure he will be. I don't know if there's a fan base that's going to be clamoring for him. I don't know if there's going to be an owner that's willing to throw him the keys to the car or accept the risk that he comes in as just the coach and works and plays well with a GM 30 years younger than him that all of a sudden he's working for. But if that happens, how's his attitude going to be toward the media? Is he going to slip right back into what he was for 24 years in New England?
Yes, I can tell you that right now. Absolutely, he will. And he will get a job next year. He'll get a job because we can see it. Mike, who've been around him for a long time, I've seen the Belichick act up close. I've seen the good of Belichick. He's been very generous to me at times. I've seen the petty side of Belichick. He has shut me out at times. So I've seen it for a generation, for 20 years. So I know all the intimate details and the Belichick playbook. But some owners are going to say, yeah, that's our guy. Why are we sitting around here in another hiring cycle? Why are we going to get this unproven guy when Bill Belichick is there and he's got championship pedigree and he wants to do it and we got the money to pay him? He can turn our franchise around. Why not hire this guy? Somebody will bring him in.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.